Hey, my name is Kyle. Welcome to Modular Games. Today I want to talk to you about the old school renaissance, the OSR. Now, games in the OSR are generally retro clones of early editions of D&D or other games that try to simulate that kind of look and feel to role-playing games. And I'm honestly a big fan of these type of games, but I have to say, I think they're fighting an uphill battle. The uphill battle that I'm talking about is probably not what other people would think of first. What people would think of first is that there are so many people who play modern games like D&D 5e or Pathfinder or anything else in that variety that simply don't catch on very quickly, and so there's a struggle trying to onboard people for old school games. That's something that comes to mind pretty often. But honestly, with these old school games, they generally roll dice that look about like this, pretty common in D&D-esque games, and I think that that is really a disservice to the play style that the OSR generally goes for. It's described that in old school games, you are allowed to do whatever you want. Any actions are on the table. If you can think of it, you can do it. And I really don't think that this die right here actually supports that type of play style, because the 20-sided die or the 6-sided die or any of these other dice, they really just indicate success or failure. Now, we talk about, if you get into a fight, you can kick over the table, you can swing on a chandelier, you can knock over your opponents. But most of those things, generally speaking, end up being creative flourishes done by the game master, or a player will spend their entire turn doing that and not do anything else that turn. And it's not really a problem to just do that one thing, but especially for people who are used to modern games like 5th edition, they don't like that. They don't like giving up their turn just to do some silly thing. But I would say that the quickest way to solve the problem of roll a die, oh no, I failed, the turn is over, is actually to use a completely different dice system, which some of you might recognize. They look like this. These dice come from a number of different games. The most prominent company, I believe, is called Genesis. And essentially, instead of trying to roll above a certain difficulty class, you simply roll a number of successes or a number of advantages. And at the same time you're rolling those dice, you check for failures and disadvantages. And you just cancel out the successes and failures, advantages and disadvantages, and then at the end of it, not only do you know whether what you were trying to do actually succeeded, but you get to tell a story about it. Sometimes you'll get 3 failures and an advantage. Sometimes you'll get 4 critical successes. Okay, that one's pretty rare. But honestly, imagine being able to say that you made an attack roll against your opponent and you dealt a critical hit, killing them, but you got 3 disadvantages, so your sword got stuck in his helmet, you can't get it out for the rest of the combat. You have to spend like 5 minutes pulling on it. Okay, that's a big problem in OSR games, and it's a very flavorful and fun problem that you're suddenly going to have to solve. But doing that really doesn't happen naturally in old school games. It's supposed to flow, it's supposed to go naturally, but in the end, it kind of just comes down to game master fiat. And while there is the contract of trust between the game master and the players, that type of random chance really seems to disappear in these creative flourishes. Meanwhile, if you use a completely different system, I think that would solve a lot of the problems, not only with gameplay, in fact, even more than with gameplay, with onboarding new players. I highly suggest these dice. I wish they were less expensive, but go ahead and give them a try sometime. All right, that's it for today's episode. See you next time. Oh, you're still here. Yeah, I have a Kickstarter. I don't sell these little, sometimes people call them math rocks, but I don't see any math here. Do you?